And we are ready, ladies and gentlemen. It's your 2021B finale for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It's the Maconi Shop 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's the stage. You just saw the drivers on where they're going to be lying. You've got the leader, Alexander Van de Sande, a 5-point lead coming into tonight with that of Henry Bennett. Going to have to put all of his effort. Just only thing he has to really do is make sure he finishes ahead of that 97 machine. Then you've got that of Adriano Pinero, who's going to be 68 points out. Then you've got Nick DeGroot, 96 points out. With the amount of drivers that have shown up, 4 drivers still have a mathematic chance. But we look at Adriano. We also look at Nick DeGroot. Those 2 drivers in a very much unlikely scenario. They're going to be needing misfortunes from that of Alexander Van de Sande and Henry Bennett. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. It's the start of Champions Week. We started off here with the Indy cars. Who's going to get the championship? Will it be Alexander Van de Sande, Henry Bennett, Adriano Pinero, or will it be Nick DeGroot? We'll find out here for 260 laps at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sam Dyer. I'm going to be your commentator for the night. Going to be running productions, going to be that of David Huckleberry, and big thanks for David coming in and helping us with productions. That of 260 laps. It's going to be a long one, but as we take a look at this track, you see it's an egg-shaped course. You've got yourself the narrow ends of turns 1 and 2, the wider, better chance of carrying in your momentum of 3 and 4. The drivers are all getting prepared as hitting the course. We're going to move down on track. Qualifying currently underway. We go to the 12 machine of Adriano Piano, who's going to be 3rd in points and going to be one of the drivers that's right now hoping to get his points in. But as we talk about he could not get a lap in currently as qualifying has come to a close. We're going to be talking about points all night long. It is so close between Alexander Van de Sande and Henry Bennett. It is a 5-point difference. And right now, these drivers all going to be prepared and ready for racing action. There was bonus points on the line. There were 2 points that could be given to one of our championship contenders, but it was not going to be given to any of those 4. As we take a look at our starting grid, it's going to be the driver that last we saw was at Belle Isle getting a road course win, that of R.C. Enerson. Going to be our pole sitter with Chad Frankifield to his outside. 2nd place, it's Henry Bennett, the 2-time champion, also the reigning champion of the IndyCar Series. Henry Bennett going to be in 3rd, with that of Eric Triano going to be in 4th. That of Mark Murphy in 5th. 6th goes the AJ Musselman. James Kennedy, that of Peter Dempsey, and as well, we're going to have that of Craig Forsyth, that of Alec Balvance. Alexander Van de Sande going to be in 11th, with Zach Evans in 12th, Victor Del Porto in 13th, Nick DeGroot in 14th, 15th goes to Adriano Pinero, as well as Chris Wilhite, David Carpenter, Michael Hosak, and also Ethan Reasoner. 19 drivers hit the track, and what makes tonight so special is that it is so possible for a lot of these drivers, some that thought maybe their chances were thrown away, there wasn't going to be a chance, that of Nick DeGroot, one of those drivers that is going to need a lot of help for himself, as points tonight doubled. That means that for a lot of these drivers, when they thought they had a chance, it was probably thrown away. It is not over just yet. That means for the driver that wins here tonight, 100 points for themselves. Drivers that finish all the way in last, they have the possible chance of getting that of 20 to 18 points. So there is a lot to be gained for these drivers. As you see, the lights are up, drivers getting ready to go. It's going to be that of R.C. Enerson and others getting prepared here, as it is about to be race time at that Worldwide Technology Raceway for 260 laps, the championship on the line, and it's going to be, could it be Alexander Van de Sande, Henry Bennett, Adriano Pinero, or will it be even with the long shot, the biggest long shot, 96 points out, Nick DeGroot. 4 drivers mathematically have a chance for a championship, but only one gets to take it away. It's championship week here on the Elite Racing Network for the Elite Racing Leagues, and we're excited to be covering it all here starting tonight. More racing action going to be on that of Sunday night. We got Truck Series and plenty of others throughout the week, but tonight we figure it out. Who will get it done? We've got 19 drivers packed and ready to get racing action done. R.C. Anderson missed last week at Michigan. What a burner that one was. It was Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett going to be finishing 1-2, with Adriano going to be finishing in third. But will it be a 1-2-3-4 finish again, and seeing who could get the championship done? We'll see. Pace car lights are off. We're going this time by 260 laps at that of WWT Raceway. And R.C. Anderson's getting ready. The flagman's up in the air, getting us ready, and we are green here at Worldwide Technology Raceway as they head down into turn number 1. It's already going to be single file for our front 3. It's everyone else back in 6 side by side, as it is going to be a lot of drivers having to be patient. But up front, Henry Bennett wants the bonus points. Lead a lap, you get 2 points. Lead the most lap, you get 4 points. So you got to make sure you're up there, especially for Bennett. That is 5 points back from that of Alexander Van de Sant. But Van de Sant in the middle of chaos. He's in the middle of that mess. You see the white and purple machine. He's on the high side. He's got Craig Forsyth to the outside, it blocking him slightly, but you do not want to be boxed in, especially here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. This track has been notoriously known for very bad netcode wrecks, so you want to make sure you get away from the drivers around you. But Van de Sant seeing a wall. It's Craig Forsyth, that of Mark Murphy. They're going to be blocking the 97, and all that Alexander Van de Sant's thinking is make sure I am in front of Henry Bennett, and I've got a championship won for myself. They're still going to be side by side going into turn number 1. Again, Alexander Van de Sant back here battling for that of 7th and also 6th place. You see the 97 making the pass. Everyone else going to be single file. R.C. Anderson, Chad Frankifield, Henry Bennett, your top 3. As we continue to see the drivers up front racing hard. R.C. Anderson having some internet issues, so he's blinking currently. And for the 16, he does not want to have these internet issues. But Chad Frankifield, another one of those drivers that did not have the season he wanted to have for himself, but still, we have ourselves 4 drivers racing for a championship, 15 drivers racing for just a win, and we're 4 laps into 260 laps. Thank you for joining us here tonight on the Elite Racing Network. It's the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series finale here at that of Worldwide Technology Raceway. The Maconi Setup Shop 500 is now 5 laps in, and it's all R.C. Anderson and Chad Frankifield in the early going. As the drivers up front continue to race on, it's all going to be about patience. When do you want to come in? And we're already seeing quick issues in pit road. It's the 86 of Ethan Reasoner. Looks like his day could be done. Drivers do not have a fast repair. The 86 already has been in pit road for 44 seconds. That means there is heavy damage for this 86 machine. We're hoping to see Reasoner get back out on track, but that now leaves us with only 18 drivers currently. So they got to be careful to not be losing any more ground or positions, especially for that of Alexander Van de Sant and others. And we noted on the fact that it is 4 drivers all racing for a championship. And we'll drop down to that of 9th place in a second, because right now Chad Frankifield still keeping it close within 3/10. He could be making a move at any moment, but Adriano Pinaro going to be the driver currently in 9th place and trying to get by that of Craig Forsyth. And for Adriano, he is in a must-win, must get himself led laps and lead the most laps. And now going to be moving forward, getting by Craig Forsyth, trying to do so, but this track's so tricky. You've got the egg-shaped course here. I call it up the flat Darlington because of the shape that it is, so narrow into the first corner of turns 1 and 2. You see as we run on the front bumper of the 12 machine, and we're just that, of Mark Murphy that we're riding on board. You can just see the toe they get on the straightaways, ducking it low into the wider sections of turns 3 and 4. And there goes the pass trying to be made on that of Craig Forsyth. And seeing all these drivers certainly all recognizing you don't want to ruin your day instantly, so they're taking it slow, taking their time. And a driver that might be calling it a day is that of Chris Wilhite, the 7. Issues again for drivers early going. The 7 comes in and now might be calling it a day, 9 laps into this race. And issues for drivers that have shown a lot of great wins for themselves, as Chris Wilhite into pit road, going to be parking it and calling it a day for the 7 machine. As we move back forward for the battling that has been going on for that of 7th position. We're watching, a lot of these drivers move forward, but caution comes out. And it's going to be one of our championship contenders, Nick DeGroot, spun around and bringing our first yellow of the day. As we take a look here on our instant replay into turn one, this track can be loose in an instant, and we're going to be seeing it here for that of the 89. Gets loose, whips it around the back bend, goes into the wall, and a championship hopes are snuffed out. The long shot, Nick DeGroot, he was in the position where he needed to lead the most laps, also lead a lap and get the pole position on top of winning the race. And his race going to be wrecked here in just lap number 10 of 260. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again. This is the championship race, the finale of the 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series for the Maconi Setup Shop Fit 500. And what a season it has been. It has just been duking back and forth between Alexander Van de Sant and Henry Bennett. Adriano Pinaro has been one of the drivers that has also been very consistent with his win back at Laguna Seca. But Nick DeGroot, the long shot, who has not gotten a win this season, but has gotten himself in a spot where he was mathematically still possible to win a championship. But a self-spin on lap 10 ends the hope of the 89 crew. And now it leaves us with just 3 drivers left out racing for a championship. It's going to be that of Henry Bennett, currently in 3rd. That of Alexander Van de Sant did not qualify, well qualified back in 11th, but is up 5 positions in 6th place for the 97. And Alexander Van de Sant comes in as our points leader. He is the leader coming in, but it is only a 5-point gap. Then directly that behind that of Alexander Van de Sant by 2 positions. We're going to be finding that of Adriano Pinaro is going to be in the 12th. Our 3 drivers you just saw there, where they're placed currently as we're getting ready to go green once again. But up front, trying to get the race win, that is R.C. Enerson and Chad Frankifield. They've been duking it back and forth for quite a while. And they're going to continue to try to put on a show for us. But the question is, will we see Henry Bennett try to do any shenanigans, any big moves? Because currently, where we see the one running at the moment, he would become our champion tonight. And thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Again, championship racing here. And as we're under yellow currently, want to give big thanks to all the amazing sponsors that we have here for the Elite Racing Network and the Elite Racing League at C2 Freights and Services. C2 Freight Services, they can help you out in getting yourselves into moving any of your freight management services. They can move anything that you're needing in cargoes, and also they've got themselves the EDI service to make sure that you're able to see where your packages are being moved and shifted. As you saw drivers getting themselves into pit road, getting service done. About half the field coming in to get service done, and that of James Kennedy going to be one of the drivers currently there. But Alexander Van de Sant, very interesting call for the 97, comes in and now going to be back in 13th position, but getting fueled up and getting ready to go. Drivers are now prepared. It's going to be about a 13 lap difference between the drivers that are going to be on the older tires and those that decided to take tires. Our first official DNF of the night is going to be Chris Wilhite in the 7, Nick DeGroot, as well as Ethan Reisner still in pit road getting service done, leaving us with 16 drivers on track for this 260 lap race. We're about 14 laps in, 13, yeah, now 14. So waiting for my ticker to change. 14 laps in to this event. It's going to be a long one, a marathon for us up in the booth, as well as a marathon for these drivers, as this track that is a 1 1/4 mile. It's a pretty short course if you look at how fast these drivers can whip it around. Fastest laps of these drivers are going to be putting down about 25.5 seconds, or even close to just 25 seconds for themselves. So it's going to be very quick on all these laps once we stay green. We saw in those first 10 laps, though, R.C. Enerson, Chad Frankifield, they were in really a league of their own, just racing one another. Henry Bennett went with his casual approach of just lingering in the top 5. But now with the call for that of Alexander Van de Sant, he's going to be back in 13th, putting himself back in traffic once again. Qualified poorly, I would say, for the 97. And he's been kind of a favorite coming in for that of Alexander Van de Sant. He's been very quick at these ovals. That was one of the threats that Henry Bennett was worried about. Pace car is going to be pulling off, though, as R.C. Enerson, Chad Frankifield, Henry Bennett going to be your top 3. That of Eric Triano, as well as Peter Dempsey, going to be your top 5. green flags in the air, but for that of IndyCar racing, the drivers are gifted 1 lap of pacing, then they go green on their own call. So the drivers are going to pace 1 more lap. That's why their green flag is waving, but the drivers are not prepared to go just yet. They got to do 1 more lap of pacing, and then they'll go coming out of turn number 4. R.C. Anderson, Chad Frankifield, Henry Bennett, Eric Triano, Peter Dempsey going to be your top 5. That of Adriano Pinero, as well as Craig Forsyth, that of Victor Del Porto, James Kennedy, and Alec Balvance going to be your top 10. As the drivers are ramping up, they're getting ready to go green once again. It's Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it's the finale. It's the Maconi Shop 500, and we are green at the start of lap 16. And it's R.C. Anderson, a great launch for himself. Chad Frankifield caught up a little bit sleeping, which is going to give an opportunity for Henry Bennett to possibly make a pass, but not close enough. The passing that's going to be going on side by side is for that of 4th place, where Peter Dempsey thought about making a pass, but here comes the 12, going to be taking the opportunity to move up into 5th position. A great pass by Adriano, and exactly what he needs to do. Move forward and get bonus points, but you saw the outside lane through 3 and 4. That is such a power move because of the wider and longer aspects of turns 3 and 4. Allowed that of Dempsey to get back into the throttle so much sooner and hold off the hard-charging number 12 of Adriano Piano. As these drivers continue to race on. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuning in at the Elise Racing Network. We are excited that this is Champion Week. We're going to be having trucks, Xfinity, Cup, all covered here on the Elite Racing Network. So subscribe, get prepared to be involved. And also want to let people know, if you'd like to chat and be involved, you do need to subscribe now and be subscribed for at least a minute. Then you'll be able to chat with us in our chat boxes. Up front, it's R.C. Anderson leading the way in the 16. Right back to where he was from Belle Isle just a few weeks ago when we were road course racing, when we get to the ovals, and RC's doing it all over again. Up front, dominating, 19 laps in. Right now, a lot of these drivers trying to figure out, where do you want to place yourself if you want to have the potential chance of moving forward, getting a win. And also, want to give note, we knew that Nick DeGroot heavily damaged. He has now officially parked it for the night, and he is done for the evening. It's right now R.C. Anderson, one of the drivers that's been having internet issues, been blinking in and out. So big sorry to all the fans that might just see us, have a little bit of a blip here or there. That's what's going on, internet issues when drivers are blinking in and out. But we look at a driver that had a very good finish last week. Looking at that of Michigan, Victor Del Porto came in 3rd place at that race. And Victor Del Porto tried some risky moves back at Michigan. Well, currently seeing that 27 and 8th place, trying to get by Craig Forsyth. And Victor Del Porto, one of the drivers that maybe he might not be a favorite in the early going, but in those final 50 laps, he just finds a way to be up front in our top 5. So do not count out Victor Del Porto. He's just still lingering and waiting. And the big thing for these drivers, you're going to be seeing them trying to make hard-charging dive bomb moves to the inside on the entries of these corners, but you lose so much momentum and you have to get on the brake so much. It costs you a lot of time, but you need to see someone make a mistake if possible. Want to give big thanks to all those that are going to be in the chat box throughout the night. We love the fact that you're interacting with us here on the Elite Racing Network, as great racing on track, that of Craig Forsyth as well as Victor Del Porto, still racing side by side. This is the battling currently going on for 7th. And if you're wondering what's going on with the championship, well, the driver that came in as the leader in points by just 5 points coming into this night, Alexander Van de Sant, back in 10th currently, came into pit road, fell to 14th. He's only moved up 4 positions, but is currently 2nd of the cars that had decided to come into pit road during our lap 10 caution that came out, that saw that of Nick DeGroot ending his race with a self-spin and ending his championship hopes as the long shot is done. Other drivers to watch out for, that up front in 3rd. Currently, if the race ended now, it would be Henry Bennett becoming our champion, and Henry Bennett going with consistency here this season. I talked to Henry Bennett earlier this week, got his thoughts. What is it going to take to win a championship? And all he said, I just need to finish ahead of Alex. But Alex's form on short ovals, that is what it's going to take. A lot of practice, focus, and maybe a little bit of luck with cautions and strategy to achieve victory. And I got to say, right now it seems to be the opposite. Henry Bennett, I mean, he has been in front faster than that of Victor Del Porto. I mean, excuse me, that of Alexander Van de Sant. And all that Henry Bennett needs to do is continue to run where he's at. Points doubled coming into tonight, meaning that first place, getting 100 points where they finish. This is without bonus points being added, so just give note on that. Second place gets 80 points. Third gets 70. Fourth place gets 64 points. And then from fourth place to that of 10th, drivers are going to have a 4-point difference from each position. Then from 11th to wherever last place is, which is all the way back to 19th, it is a 2-point difference. So currently, where they finished, even if that of Alexander Van de Sant finished in 4th and Henry Bennett finished in 5th, Henry Bennett would have those 6 points and would win the championship by just 1 point. So the pressure is on. Speaking of pressure, for the lead, you see him ducking down low. It's the red, white, and blue of Chad Frankifield doing a pass to the inside, but will he be clear? He certainly got a lot of momentum, and he finally is side by side. It might take another dive bomb move into turn 3, but the momentum just not there. The draft not as well, but with the dive bomb move, I think R.C. Anderson recognizing Chad's going to be there and decides to maybe go for a crossover move on the front stretch, but instead letting the 15 go. A lead change. Chad Frankifield to the point here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but for how long is, oh no, car spun on the inside. It's Zach Evans who's going to be the 6th. Oh no, a very scary moment for our leaders. Not expecting a driver down below onto the grass. And it's the 6th, Zach Evans, who's going to be spun around and is going to be calling it a day already. He took a tow to pit road and has left the session. You hate to see it. Zach Evans, big thanks to him and helping at the Elite Racing Network. We see him on track every once in a while. I know he was excited to be racing here tonight. But for the 6th machine, it is not going to be his night to win. As we are 30 laps in, second caution of the day, we're going to be stepping aside for a quick moment. We're going to stay pretty quiet. When we come back, they're going to be seeing drivers either coming to pit road or those stay out. Big questions out there. We'll be back in just a few. I don't know why Victor stayed out. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the finale for the 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It's the Maconi Shop 500 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The event to see who will be walking away with a championship. Coming in tonight, we had 4 drivers mathematically possible to win a championship. We have lost one of our championship drivers, Nick DeGroot, bringing out our first yellow back on lap 10. And now we're left with just 3. That of Alexander Van de Sant Arch coming in as the leader, currently in 2nd position with a great pit stop for himself. And then we find ourselves with falling back to 5th place. We have that of Henry Bennett. And then also we find that of Adriano Pinaro, who's going to be on the 7th position. Those are your 3 drivers that are racing for a championship. And here's the scenarios on where the drivers are at currently. We have 15 drivers on track. The most recent incident and caution being brought out, Zach Evans, who got wrecked trying to avoid another driver that got into the outside wall. Broke his back wing, and then just decided to call it a day. So we're left with 15 drivers on track on the lead position, on the lead lap. Right now, Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van de Sant, 2 drivers that decided to stay out and not come into pit road. Victor Del Porto has not pitted at all. 19 laps ago is when Alexander Van de Sant came into pit road and got service done for the 97 team. But of those that just came in and got service done, Chad Frankifield, R.C. Anderson, Henry Bennett, those have been your top 3 for most of the night until they just came into pit road. Chad Frankifield just made a pass for the lead before that yellow came out. Big scare seeing the 6 on the inside, but drivers are excited. They're ramped up. They're ready to go. 260 laps is the distance for tonight's race. We're only 32 laps in, so we still have a lot of racing to go. And for that, Victor Del Porto, he is going to be your lead driver. But for how long? With the yellows and the timings that they've come out, it's been every about 15 to 16 lap 10 for the first stint. Then we kept the yellow on lap 30, so 10 to 20, though not a long enough stint for us to have green flag pit stops, but we are excited and to see if we can get into a longer green flag run and see when the driver's going to be making a green flag pit stop. Because of the way pit entry is, drivers got to be cautious coming to the pit on an off-ramp road for pit entry, and as well when they get out of pit road. It's going to be a lot of different factors for the drivers and where they're placed, as you're seeing where the drivers lie on this restart back here. This is 8th place for Dempsey, and then Craig Forsyth in 9th. And as we continue to let the graphic go through into that of 10th is Kennedy, and outside of the top 10 are the final couple of drivers that are still out on track. I gave a note for, we were talked to our top two, that of our two-time champ, also last season's champion, that of Henry Bennett. We also got notes from that of Alexander Van Sant, from his thoughts, what it would take for him to win the championship here tonight, currently in 2nd place on track. But earlier this week, first thing he said, first thing is to keep my nose clean, so I'm there at the end. Gateway's a tight track, and it is a long race, so I'll need to make sure that I've got a lot of patience. I know I'm quick here, and I know how to win, so I'm ready for anything. So Alexander Van Sant feeling prepared, confident, and ready to go. As into pit road, going to be that of RC Anderson. Going to be pulling it off. RC might be calling it a night already, or deciding to just come to pit road and get service done. Well, he just took the tow, and now we wait to see if RC is done, as drivers got the green. But again, IndyCar rules, they are going to be just racing. They're going to be pacing for this lap, and then we'll get back to racing under green. RC has parked it, calling it a day. We're left with 14 drivers on track. We'll get you the math on when that of Adriano Pinero might be out of a chance to win this championship, because those positions drifting away. He needs to see Victor Del Porto and you have to see Alexander Van Sant and Henry Bennett have faults here. But we are now, green drivers are back up to full song as they are racing on the front stretch. You got two drivers that did not come into pit road, Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van Sant. How well can they hold off Chad Frankifield, that now becomes the favorite to win here tonight after RC Anderson parking it after just 34 laps? We are now down to 14 drivers that still are at full song and have a chance to win here tonight. And it's Victor Del Porto leading the way. And Van Sant going to be in 2nd. That of Henry Bennett, Chad Frankifield racing for 3rd. It's been all side by side and very close racing back for the 6th place position, where that of Pinero, that of Dempsey, as well as seeing Triano, all have been on top of one another. But up front, you see them right now. It's your 27, Victor Del Porto, 3rd place finisher last week, as well as seeing that of our points leader coming into tonight's race, Alexander Van Sant at 2nd, as they roar on, coming to the start of lap 37. Still a lot of racing to go, and we already have said so long to 5 drivers here tonight. We'll see how many are left here racing once we get to halfway, which isn't it for another 100 laps. So drivers still trying to concede and make sure that they're patient and they've got a car by the end of the night. As we continue to stay green, it is all that of the 27, Victor Del Porto. Alexander Van Sant going to be in 2nd, with Chad Frankifield and Henry Bennett in 4th. Adriano Pinero is going to be in 5th place after making the pass on Eric Triano, and as well on Peter Dempsey. So we take a look at the digger cam, getting a look at the drivers as we're back, camera set on the rumble strips, where you really don't see the drivers very often touching. If you're going to see one of these Indy cars touch the rumble strip, especially during green flag racing, you've got a good shot that driver's going to be spun around. You're just going to feel that looseness, sliding, and issues are going to be hitting that driver. As still, you look at where all the drivers are currently. This IndyCar Series season is, oh no, there's wrecking on the back. It's Dempsey going to be scattering across, and I believe other drivers going to be collected in this one. AJ Musselman, as well as David Carpenter. Carpenter actually getting by. James Kennedy, going to be another driver involved. As we take a look at the replay, You see Dempsey getting loose all on his lonesome, hard in the outside wall, and drivers nowhere to go here late. See Kennedy as well as the hard hit for AJ Musselman. And for Kennedy, luckily, I don't think he got too much damage, but his car, once he started trying to get rolling, has been influenced and heavily damaged. This could be the end of 3 more drivers, and our field went from a potential 19 drivers now down to just maybe 11 to 10 in just the first 40 laps. Oh boy, this is an interesting night, championship night. The 3 drivers we're keeping our eyes on. Again, driver who was in second, Alexander Van de Sant. Adriano Pinaro is going to be in fourth. Henry Bennett just coming into pit road for the 1. Going to be seeing if there's any damage for the 1 or if this is a strategy call. These drivers did come into tonight's race with 10 sets of tires, so plenty of tires to get service done. But immediately, drivers calling it a night. Peter Dempsey, AJ Musselman, call it a night. James Kennedy had a rear axle look like issue for the 75 once he started getting rolling. And you see fuel, and away the 1 goes. So drivers, we'll see how many are going to be left. This is the exact same scenario we were feeling back at Belle Isle just a couple of weeks back, but that was 40 laps into an 80-lap race. We're 40 laps in at a 260-lap race, so we could be seeing ourselves, if this trend continues, left with less than 10 drivers by the end of the night, and who knows if we'll even have 10 drivers by halfway. Up front, though, Victor Del Porto still is not pitted here tonight, so all eyes on the 27. When will he finally come into pit road, as everyone else has done at least 1 stop through that of second place, Alexander Van de Sant, back to 6th position of Craig Forsyth, then from 7th back to that of 11th, where Henry Bennett just got finished with his 2nd pit stop. 2 pit stops for all these drivers, so everyone's trying to get as much service done as that of Michael Hosak, going to be coming back in to get service done, maybe top it off with fuel, as well as James Kennedy. Kennedy, who was involved in that last incident, trying to get as much damage repair done as possible. Luckily, still running and leaving us with 11 drivers on the lead lap. James Kennedy, only driver a lap down currently, and we'll see if the 75 is just going to be parking it, because after going a lap down, there is a chance of getting back out there, but it is a very long night once you get damage. Big thanks again to all those that have been joining us here tonight. 42 laps into our championship race for the 2021B finale of the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It's the Maconi Shop 500 here tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We gave a big shout out to that of C2 Freights and Resources. Big thanks also goes to that at Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Market. Looking to be one of the best places to get yourself in the marketing department for small businesses. And if you are trying to get yourself started in small businesses, Blue Egg Marketing is one of the best places to go, as they will be helping you out any way possible, as well as you've been seeing them cycling through on your bottom left, that at Response Energy. If you're looking to get yourself into energy drinks, Response Energy is the way to go, especially if you're in the east section of the United States, Florida, Alabama, and all of those states. You are looking to get yourself into Response Energy. They can get you some of the best energy drinks out there. As well, to that of Maconi Setup Shop, and Maconi Setup Shop is your home for iRacing setups. As well, if you're looking to get yourself on the track, they are one of the best places to go. Remember, Maconi Setup Shop, they're our setups, but they're your victories as well. Maconi Setup Shop wasn't in the notes, but I know this because I've covered them in other broadcasts. If you're looking to also get coaching, Maconi Setup Shop does that as well. If you go to maconishop.com/coaching for $25 an hour, you can get coached by some of the best of those drivers that have raced in the NASCAR Coca-Cola Series, like Zach Novak, and also that of Jimmy Mullis. They've been coaches for that at Maconi Setup Shop, and there have been plenty others. Pace car rolls off, but we still have one more pace lap to go for these drivers. It's going to be Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van de Sant, Chad Frankifield, Adriano Pinaro, as well as Eric Triano, going to be your top 5. Craig Forsyth, Mark Murphy, Alec Balvance, Henry Bennett, as well as Michael Hosack, going to be your top 10. And hearing from... I'm listening in currently with Race Control, and Race Control is currently talking over with having Chad Frankifield and Race Control debating about how they're going to be trying to push this race to go a little bit faster and quicker if we get a lot more yellows. But we'll see if we need any more yellows, or will we stay green? Victor Del Porto, as well as Alexander Van de Sand, ready to go. Coming out of turn number 4, we are green once again. It's the Maconi Setup Shop 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's the finale for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series, and it's going to be all that of the 27 and the 97. They are trying to pull away older tires for both. And right now, Victor Del Porto, the only driver that has not pitted so far. And here comes Alexander Van de Sand, trying to become the first of our championship 3 that are left on track to lead a lap. Here comes the 97 on the inside, and coming across the line, he'll get it done. That is 2 bonus points to Alexander Van de Sand. Massive for the 97 team. And now the question is, can he survive the rest of the night and make sure he is ahead of the one of Henry Bennett? Remember, Bennett deciding to come into pit road later than everyone else on this last pit stop. The one all the way back in 8th place. A lot of work needs to be done for himself, as Victor Del Porto, yes, he had the lap taken for a moment, but takes the lead right back in an instant. Front 2 racing hard, and they'll continue to race as hard as they can. 9 out of lap 47. Currently in going through 3 and 4, it's Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van de Sand. We look at some of the closest battles on track. Closest one is the battle that's going on for 6th place, where we have Craig Forsyth and Mark Murphy on top of one another. The blue and white Craig Forsyth and the black and yellow of Mark Murphy racing with one another. And right behind them is where Henry Bennett as well as Alec Balvance. And do want to give note, Alec Balvance, we saw the incident of the 6 being our wreck driver that brought out our second yellow of the night. That is Zach Evans. The reason why Evans got spun around was because Alec Balvance got into the outside wall, brushed it. Luckily, the 5 is still out there on track, but we've got to be careful for a lot of these drivers. That outside wall can sneak up on you, and we already can see visibly tire marks off of turn number 2. The drivers have tightened up, gotten into that outside wall. Dirty air going to be a big factor to watch out for, as Mark Murphy just trying to pick and choose where is the fastest line and where to place yourself. Tonight, we've got only 11 drivers left on the lead lap, as we're 50 laps in. We are marching ourselves 11 laps away from being 200 laps left in the race. Crazy to think that there's still so much racing going on, and we've lost 7 drivers already of the 19 that started here tonight, as Mark Murphy still slashed and dashing, but as they're continuing to race, slowly but surely, is Henry Bennett closing in. Looking at the fastest laps that have been put down currently so far, fastest driver would be that of Alexander Van de Sand with a 25.044 lap time. As we look at the difference of times between that of 8th and 9th place, saw there for a quick moment where Balvance was closing in on Henry Bennett, but Bennett currently doing a great job closing in on the driver in front of him, of Mark Murphy. So certainly we're seeing the one find a little bit more speed. And that last lap, Henry Bennett was that of 400ths faster. As we take a look now at the difference between 7th and 8th place, all green for Henry Bennett, meaning he's closing in, but not by the biggest of margins, just close enough is he closing in. And I think the big thing you look at is the draft. The draft toe is something that is allowing the one to close in, but the closer he gets, especially as the tire wear kicks in, we're going to be seeing the one tighten up in these corners, not able to really make the pass that he wants, especially on older tires. Currently, looking at where the drivers are now with all the spacing that's going on, now the closest battle on track actually is for the lead. Out of Alexander Van de Sand, got a great launch through the corners of 1 and 2, and now trying to get a good launch and get on a toe for himself. Not close enough to make a pass just yet, but if he can get a good section here through turns 3 and 4. He's running about a half a lane higher as we're on board with the 97 on screen. Just wasn't the best exit at turn 4, but still close enough to linger and stay really focused here tonight. Alexander Van de Sant, if the race ended now, would become our championship winner. And honestly, I think for a lot of these drivers, it has been the Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett show all season long. Henry Bennett, he's a 2-time champion in this series, trying to make it 3 here tonight if possible. Well, no, contact gonna be made. Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van de Sant running over one another. Championship hopes. You cannot see something like that happen, and luckily the front wing's still attached. But Van de Sant, he is concerned over the radio, frustrated. Is the 97 machine, and coming and battling for the lead, and then feeling like just completely brake checked. Oh my goodness. Chad Frankifield, who was the fastest during our first stint of the race, then got pushed back to 3rd. Now trying to battle for the lead. Alexander Van de Sant, yes, bumped in, ran over Victor Del Porto, but visibly looks to be okay. But you know mentally that could be a very tossing situation. Now with the crossover move from the 97, this race is not over by a long shot. We're just 58 laps in. We're not even 200 laps to go yet, and we've already seen one of our championship drivers out of the race, that of Nick DeGroot, seeing himself snuffed out. We almost saw Alexander Van de Sant coming in as the leader by just 5 points, now being pressured. It is going to be up front, challenging back and forth. Now going to be joining the fray. It's going to be the 12 of Adriano Pinaro. It's going to be a 3-horse race currently for the lead, with Chad Frankifield taking the lead spot. Oh my goodness. If you just missed it, it was battling for the lead. Victor Del Porto was in that lead position. Gets onto the brakes early. Alexander Van de Sant was not expecting it. As we take a look here at the incident that gave us a giant scare. Actually, this was the pass that was made for the lead after the incident happened, but Alexander Van de Sant very lucky to still have his front nose after contact with the 27. Whew. Scary situations here. We are now going to be coming up to 200 laps to go here for the Maconi Setup Shop 500, and drama has certainly hit the track here tonight. Chad Frankifield leading the way with Van de Sant still lingering behind. Van de Sant, though, running slower than Chad Frankifield, but the drama now in the air. Thank you to everyone that's joining us here tonight. It has been all about that of Alexander Van de Sant and also Henry Bennett. Big difference on where they lie. Currently, Alexander Van de Sant in 2nd, Bennett all the way back in that of 8th place. But Adriano Pinaro, one of the drivers that is in a long shot scenario for himself, needing to make sure that he has got 60 points ahead of the drivers ahead that of Alexander Van de Sant and Henry Bennett. With the amount of drivers that are left, we've got 12 currently on track. It's questionable on who's going to be making it in, as Victor Del Porto, who needed to come into pit road, finally coming in. We'll see how long his stop is because of the being rear-ended. But drama-filled night, and that's what you get for these championship races. This is just the start of championship week, and the Indy cars have already put the drama in. We had 4 drivers come in for a chance to win the championship. Nick DeGroot out of this thing. Almost just saw our favorite, that of Alexander Van de Sant, almost taken out after complications in running into one another is Van de Sant and Victor Del Porto. But luckily, Van de Sant visibly doesn't look like there's damage, and running currently still very strong with Chad Frankifield as we're on the front bumper of the 97 at Van de Sant. Van de Sant going to be trying to go to the outside, just trying to get a little bit of different airflow for himself. He runs right behind, not going to be able to really make the pass, and I think a little bit spooked after the contact between himself and the 27. But here comes Van de Sant to the inside, trying to dive it low. But here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, it's very difficult, especially in the later runs, to make that inside lane pass into turns 1 and 2. We'll see if he's going to retry here on this next lap. Whew. Still a lot of racing to go. Thank you again for joining us on the Elite Racing Network. Van de Sant to the inside, ducking it, and we'll see if he can get the run out. But driving all the way down, he's to 3rd gear. now going to be shifting up to 4th. Still side by side going into turns 3 and 4. But Van de Sant just not enough momentum and drive into the corner to make the sled job work. Chad Frankifield, veteran of the IndyCars, has always been a driver to watch out for in all series that he races in. Right now doing a great job defending the could-be champion here tonight. As we look right now, time-based, currently great racing action for the lead is Chad Frankifield and Alexander Van de Sant, but Pinero as well as Triano going to be the two drivers running in 3rd and 4th that have actually been running faster than our leaders for the past 3 laps. But as I say, hey, they've been running faster. Chad Frankifield finds a new gear and is trying to extend his lead if possible, but it's going to be very hard with the 97 still hounding on that back bumper. And we can see already 2 of the 3 champions that are still left in this race. You see the purple and white, that of Alexander Van de Sant. Then you see just the pure white back there of the 12, that's Adriano Bonaro. And then all the way back in 7th is where we find the green machine of Henry Bennett trying to go for his 3rd championship in the IndyCar Series. We look back to the last time that these drivers were here at Gateway. The driver that won that race was that of Tyler Fode, and Fode did not show up here tonight, but the driver that finished in 2nd and had the pole position won was Adriano Pinaro, who's currently in 3rd place. But the drivers that are racing here tonight for a championship, besides the 12, Alexander Van de Sant as well as Henry Bennett, both were not at that Gateway race for the 2021 A season. So this is, you know, we came in kind of knowing the 12 was going to be one of the favorites to get a top 3, top 5 finish, potentially a win. But it's the drivers that are surprising us, Chad Frankifield and others, that are having a fabulous run currently up front. Chad Frankifield snaking a little bit on the back stretch, trying to break off the draft anyway to make sure there's no advantage given to the 97 currently that is running in 2nd place. 72 laps in, and what a race. Drama filled, already sparks flying. Issues for a moment there for Alexander Van de Sant. Ran into the back bumper of Victor Del Porto, and Del Porto had to come to pit road after staying out, and Van de Sant now showing signs to come in. The reason Van de Sant has to come in so early, though, is he was another one of those drivers with Victor Del Porto that stayed out on our last caution. So the 97 has to come in. Now going to be forcing Alexander Van de Sant to come into pit road. Is going to be going a lap down. As we take a look at the pit strategies that have been happening, you see that of the drivers up front, they've only done 1 stop, expecting to come in here in the next 10 laps. Is that Chad Frankifield and others? You see lifted up, put back down, waiting for the fuel, and away goes that of the 97, Alexander Van de Sant, off sequence from the other 2 drivers of Adriano Pinero as well as Henry Bennett. Henry Bennett is a driver that can stretch it out the furthest out of everyone else. The one back in 6th place, but is going to be a driver that can stretch it out an extra 10 laps over those that we're expecting to see of our front runners, Chad Frankifield, Pinero, Triano, and also Craig Forsyth and others that pitted back 44 laps ago during our 2nd caution of the day. And we look at the stats coming into tonight. That of Henry Bennett, he has been so consistent for himself, as Mark Murphy over the radio says go low. He's going to be gifting that position, recognizing the championship implications of challenging a driver, but showing it's so difficult to make a pass, especially later on in a run. You need to kind of just get on the brakes, and there you go. Murphy gifting the spot. Bennett gets the move on. And now going to be moving up to up to 5th is the number 1 of Henry Bennett. But we're looking at the stats for Henry Bennett. Missed a race this season, so only started 8 races so far. And of those 8 races, has finished in the top 5, 7 out of the 8 races that he's shown up for. Last week, put on a thrilling race where we thought potentially Henry Bennett was going to steal away Michigan with an extreme stayed out as long as he could, taking the quickest stop possible, just topping off with fuel had over I think it was a 2-second gap lead over the rest of the pack that had Alexander Van de Sant, Victor Del Porto, Hunter Smith all together. And at the end, it was Alexander Van de Sant coming out of turn number 4 by 9 thousandths of a second that got the win back at Michigan. And at that point last week, Henry Bennett was the driver that was up by 5 points over that of Alexander Van de Sant. But after the win Van de Sant got last week, it flip-flopped. 5 points was the advantage for the 97. And coming into here tonight, points are now doubled. So we could see a driver easily, even if you're just 5 points is the difference, 1 to 2 positions could be the key to winning a championship. As Henry Bennett, watching on screen, currently in 5th, just tracking and putting down times, but is 6.3 seconds out from our leader. And the driver that's close to our leader is Adriano Pinaro, who's going to be about a half a second off. Drivers starting to split up, give each other some space. We're going to go silent for a couple of laps here as drivers getting ready to come in for pit road stops, and we'll be back in just a few. Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 2021B finale at that of the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. Chad Frankifield, our leader, coming into pit road, getting tires and fuel. Green flag pit stops underway. As Frankifield dashes out of his pit box, we now wait for who's going to be next to come into pit road. Alec Balvance following Chad Frankifield into pit road. This last time by Mark Murphy just coming into his pit box. So drivers trying to get themselves situated here, and next couple of drivers that were expected to come in. Big Pack coming in, and yellow now going to be waving. Oh no, this changes everything. And yellow flies. Alec Balvance going to be the driver that brings out this yellow, and it's coming out of pit road. Oh, this is terrible for some of the drivers that just came into pit road and got service done. You're going to see the 5 try to get back into the throttle here in the middle of the corner, gets loose and just skates across the grass. Just never had a chance to slow down. Comes up in front of one of our championship contenders, the 12, who was the leader at the time. Again, a very scary night for all of our championship contenders. But that is what brings out our yellow, Alec Balvance. I mean, what a interesting place to bring out a yellow. And I mean, you don't usually see a driver skate that much into the track, and just by inches, Adriano Pinero is going to be still seeing a championship berth. Well, championship hopes still alive, but certainly a terrifying moment as we go back to live showing. We saw a lot of drivers coming into pit road, and now Adriano, Henry Bennett, Hozak, also that of Craig Forsyth, all going to be coming into pit road, and this could be gifting potential chance for that of Alexander Van de Sant and others getting a wave around, but Eric Traiano had already come into pit road at the timing of the yellow, was ahead and was on the lead lap. This has the chance of trapping and has trapped, I believe. No, I take that back. I believe wave arounds potentially could be given here as we wait and see where driver's going to be lying, as there was a little bit of a cycle of when it was who was going to come into pit road, and it looked like we're waiting. They're actually debating who's going to be able to move forward and who's not. And I believe they are going to be gifting all the drivers that are ahead of that of Adriano to get their positions and get back on the lead lap, which is going to be, this is huge. Alexander Van de Sant was trapped a lap down. Chad Frankifield was as well. So this is going to be putting all of our championship drivers back onto the lead lap with one another. But now Alexander Van de Sant is going to be on 16-lap older tires. But like we've seen so far, tires don't seem to be a big issue that we've seen in just a 16 to 10 lap difference from fresher tires. It's when you've got 20 or more lap older tires that you really start to see a major difference on times. And drivers you see right now waiting to be told and given the wave around when to take off. Alec Balvance, who did not hit anything, came into pit road, got service done. The 5 was given an EOL, so he'll be starting at the end of the line on this restart and will be 2 laps down. Dave Carpenter is currently 1 lap down, and it looks like we'll be, once everyone gets cycled through, left with 10 drivers on the lead lap. We're almost 100 laps into this 260 lap racing event. It's the Maconi Shop 500, and it is the finale of the 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. What a season it's been. 9 races have gotten us to this point, and it was a 5-point difference between that of Alexander Van de Sant and also Henry Bennett. So drivers, crazy to think that in 9 races it was down to just 5 points. And with points being doubled here tonight for the finale, it gave that of Adriano Pinero as well as that of Nick DeGroot still an opportunity for a championship for themselves. But because of Nick DeGroot bringing out our first caution on a self-spin, his night is done. Adriano Pinero is going to be needing to see that of Henry Bennett and also Alexander Van de Sant finish back in 11th and 12th for a chance to win a championship. So his hopes are slimming each driver that calls it a night. As drivers are giving the wave around, we're going to be getting that. We are on the 1 to go. It's going to be Adriano Pinero, Henry Bennett, Michael Hozak, Eric Traiano, as Alexander Van de Sant going to be your top 5. Chad Frankifield, Victor Del Porto, James Kennedy, Mark Murphy, and Craig Forsyth going to be your top 10 that are on the lead lap, as everyone's getting their wave arounds currently. David Carpenter 1 lap down, and Alec Balvance going to be about 2 laps down for himself. We've had multiple drivers DNF for the night with Musselman, Dempsey, Anderson, Evans, DeGroot, and Will Height. Ethan Riesener came into pit road after just 2 laps ran and has been our race control ever since. It's 12 drivers still out on track. Those that took the wave around came into pit road and got service done. That James Kennedy, Craig Forsyth, all getting service done, which they were allowed to do so because of the fact that we were going to be seeing these drivers have a manual restart here. Green flag, yes, is out on track, but we are going to be having 1 pace lap, allowing drivers to catch back up that just came into pit road. Victor Del Porto just came into pit road to get service done for the 27. Again, big scare on this last stint. Alexander Van de Sant running into the back bumper of Victor Del Porto, so a little bit of damage to the 27's rear bumper that he wants to get repaired, well, more so the rear gearbox. He's getting repaired, as well as taking tires. Going to be back out on track. And then we saw on the replay, Alec Balvan sliding on the exit of green flag pit stops and almost taking out the 12 of Adriano Pinheiro, but luckily by inches, they are okay. And now the drivers coming out of turn 4. It's the Maconi Setup Shop 500. We are green once again. All 3 of the rest of our championship contenders in the top 5 currently. Adriano Pinheiro needs to get the win. Getting the lap led is a bonus point given to himself, as well as going to need to lead the most laps if the 12 wants to be getting this championship done. But we'll see if it is even possible. Henry Bennett going to be in second place. Bennett still needing to lead a lap to get that bonus point. But it's side by side. Triano, Frankifield for that third place position, as the 12 of Pinheiro going to be pulling away for himself. And also Alexander Van de Sant in 5th, picking and choosing where he wants to go. A 3-car battle for 3rd is certainly what is the hottest battle on track. And what's a big scare here is they're so stacked up on one another, that of Triano and Chad Frankifield, that one slip up, we could be seeing the driver that came in as our leader, 5-point advantage over Henry Bennett, could be wiped out in an instant as we continue to watch this great battling for 4th. Frankifield ducking and weaving. Van de Sant trying to figure out where the nose is going to fit. Not going to be able to find any space currently. And now to the outside is going to be Van de Sant, but with Triano there, thought maybe that was going to be a little bit of a blocking defense. Was not the case. Chad Frankifield gifting the position to the 97. They're snaking down the back stretch as that of the 12 Pinheiro going to be starting that trek. And now here comes Alexander Van de Sant. Where the drivers lie currently, it would be Henry Bennett taking the championship gold. But for that of Van de Sant, he's not going to be calling it quits. There's still a lot of racing left in the first 100 laps. We've already seen one of our 4 contenders coming into the night taken out. We've already seen the 97 almost lose his front wing. We saw the 12 almost see his night gone. Henry Bennett, though, has been Mr. Clean, out of trouble, even though he's had some questionable pit stop strategies. And here comes that of Van de Sant, almost making contact with Eric Triano, but nothing's going to be made there. A very aggressive move in the 97 up to 3rd place. And if they finished where they're at now, because of the 2-point advantage of leading the lap and being in 2nd place and 3rd place and points being doubled, Henry Bennett would still get the championship by just that of 1 point. So for that of Alexander Van de Sant, he has to make the pass and make sure he's ahead of the one of Henry Bennett because of where the bonus points lie. Under laps are now in the books. It's Adriano Pinheiro, Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sant. Would you like it any other way? It's the 3 drivers racing for the championship, all in line and putting on a show currently. It's Alexander Van de Sant. How aggressive does he want to get? Halfway at lap 131, and drivers still itching to put down the best finish they can. We got one of the best finishes last week at Michigan. It was 9 thousandths of a second, and Alexander Van de Sant got the win. He might have to get a win here tonight if he wants the gold. 97 right on the back bumper, and I think the big advantage for Alexander is he's got a lighter fuel load. He's been out there. The difference, because Alexander Van de Sant pitted under green flag scenarios, he pitted about 29 laps ago, while Henry Bennett came into pit road during that caution. So a little bit of a higher, that of a lighter car goes to Alexander Van de Sant. The heavier one is in the one. You got a lighter car, even with the tire difference, you're able to really put down some very fast laps. Henry Bennett has gone with a more consistent approach with his lap times. All that of Alexander Van de Sant has put down the fastest lap of the day officially with a 25.044 lap time. Well, that was placed quite a long time ago during the early portions of the race for these drivers. So Not a lot of pressure currently to try to put down the fastest lap, as I went back to see that fastest lap that Alexander Van Sant put that lap down of the 25.044 was back on lap 37. So it was quite a long time ago. It was before the nose damage that was given to the 97, but has gotten the repairs done. Not visibly damaged anymore is the 97, and now challenging for that second place position. And as they continue to race on, very aggressive here, the driver that's leading, Adriano Pinero, one of the drivers that is racing for a championship but needs to see the battling for second to turn into a wreck. And as we swapped over, just poor timing on my part, sorry about that, but there was a pass for second. Alexander Van Sant makes the pass cleanly. Henry Bennett kind of gifting that position. He said, you know what, this racing's getting a little bit too difficult. Let's just give it up. As we take a replay of the pass, kind of see Bennett going high, and when you see a driver go this high into turn number 3 and 4, that's kind of a sign of take the position. We're not going to challenge and battle for it. Thank you to everyone joining us here tonight on the Elite Racing Network. It is the start of championship week for the Elite Racing Leagues, as tonight is the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. Sunday night is going to be the finale. 4 drivers battling for a championship in the trucks, in the Old Testament Firearms Truck Series. Then on Monday night, you've got the SMRI Xfinity drivers going to be racing for their championship. Wednesday is that of the Joint APS Cup Series. Tons of racing to be shown throughout the week, and we cannot believe it. 2021B season is coming to a close. Most of the 2021A season I was covering for the Old Testament Firearms. Got to see a lot of fast drivers, and that one a dazzling 3 wide finish to see who's going to get the championship. And here tonight, we're left with just 3 drivers currently running 1, 2, 3. And Alexander Van Sant, because of the fact that when he came into pit road, looking like he's probably going to have to come into pit road here in the next about 15 to 20 laps. That's when we expect the 97 to pull it into pit road if we stay green, as we're on lap 110. Getting close to halfway. First half, what drama we've had. We've seen our first caution of the day be Nick DeGroot in the 89 car, self-spinning. Our longest shot driver was 96 points out, needing to see practically all the other 3 drivers battling for a championship to finish in 19th, 18th, and 17th position. Did not happen. For lap 10, Nick DeGroot's night was over. We saw then another spin where Zach Evans gets into the outside wall, trying to avoid the driver getting into the outside wall of Alec Balvance, and running the sixes night. Chris Wilhite pulls it into pit road after an incident for himself. Then we saw the big one involving Dempsey, AJ Musselman, and also a couple of other drivers. And now I believe R.C. Anderson just called it a night for himself when he was one of the favorites, had our pole position, and was leading up front, but called it a night early for himself. Alec Balvance self-spinning after green flag pit stops, almost collecting our leader currently, Adriano Pinero. It was just inches the difference, and now we will continue to wait and see. We're left with just 12 drivers on track, 10 of them on the lead lap, and it's our top 3 that are the 3 drivers battling for a championship. Thank you for everyone joining us, all the amazing sponsors throughout the season. We've had Bird Racing. We've also seen plenty of others being involved as we just let the ticker go through. That's our top 4 currently. Into pit road is Chad Frankifield, going to be starting the pit cycle for himself. And as Chad Frankifield pulls it into pit road, the question is, was this a non-scheduled stop for himself, or was this scheduled? As we wait and see, tires go up. Usually that's a good sign. If you see the tires go up, he is going to be most likely taking off. And there we go. Quick stop for the 15. Pit stop was an 8.6 second time in his box of tires being up, fuel put in. And a total of 34.3 seconds was the full duration of being in pit road and out of pit road. So Adriano Pinaro is going to be the driver up front in the 12 with the 97 Alexander Van de Sant in second. Henry Bennett in first. Eric Triano is going to be in fourth. Fifth goes to Mark Murphy. We've seen a lot of these drivers have some great races throughout the season. This is race number 10 of the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. And as we were looking at some of the drivers further back, because it's now turned into kind of a waiting game from here on out, what strategies of when you want to come in. Seeing some of the drivers that have had some great racing, as currently Craig Forsyth in 6th place for the 33. He's been playing nice currently. As a scare for the lead. Lead has changed. And a little scare for Adriano Pinero, who I don't know what happened. I think it might have been a misshift potentially for the 12. He went full song. And it just ducks it low. Very odd to see. Went back a full rewinding to see what I think there might have been a misshift. Because he was flying and then it's just been in gear 3 for the longest time. And now it's going into pit road. Could have been, went too far. Fuel could have been an issue potentially. I don't think it was. And the 12 now limping into pit road. We'll wait for confirmation on what happened to Adriano. It's just, we're really confused on what happened to Adriano. It looked like he potentially was saving. And he missed his box, so he did not make it to his... He went past. He's still stuck. Looks like he's trying to find another gear. And not able to. He's still been stuck in 3rd gear this whole entire time. You can see by the 3. He's not taking a tow. There could be a mechanical error where he shifted down to 3rd gear and he's been stuck there for this whole entire time. And now going to be taken off and moving forward. I think that's what's going on. I think there is a mechanical error, real life, for that of Adriano, who is our leader at the moment. And now just stuck in pit road. We'll wait for more confirmation on what's going on with the 12 here, as he is still in pit road. Championship hopes crumble again. The long shots of Nick DeGroot saw his hopes snuffed out on lap 10. And Adriano Pinero's hopes of a championship gold look to be done as well. Had to finally take the tow, and now is currently 5 laps down on lap 120. It went from a potential chance to win here at Worldwide Technology Raceway to now just hoping to get back out on track. As here comes Alexander Van de Sant. This is a scheduled stop for the 97. He needed to stay out as long as possible. And now into pit road is the leader, who was in the lead when he came in, and the leader in points coming into tonight. And as we see the 97 wheels up, wheels about to go down here quickly. We're expecting the other drivers coming to pit road as we are coming into halfway. Crazy night it has been, but Henry Bennett now going to be the leader of those that are on the same sequence that came into pit road 36 laps ago under the last caution we just had. And the question lies, when and who is going to be coming into pit road next? With Van de Sant being a lap down, he's going to hope that no caution comes out again, or could be placed again in a very tricky situation. But worked out all right last time, but now we got to bring in the calculators and figure out these drivers can go about 50 laps it's a 47 to 50 laps is the length that these drivers can go on a green flag run. We are now down to our final two. The two drivers, 5-point difference. Henry Bennett and Alexander Van de Sande. They are the last two of our championship contenders. Nick DeGroot was caught up in a lap 10 incident, and on lap 20, Adriano Pinaro seemed to be having mechanical errors for the 12. He was leading the race at the time. He had a long shot. It was 68 points was the difference, but because he was leading so many laps, he had the chance of getting the most laps led, which would have been another extra 4 bonus points on top of the 2 that he had for just leading a lap. And now for Adriano, came in with 68 points out from being the leader. He has called it a night. The 12 has parked it. So we went from 4, we're down to 2. Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sande. It seems like whenever we come to these championship races, it's all down to the driver that has the least mistakes. And so far, it has been the one that hasn't had any trouble compared to the other 2. Nick DeGroot spun out on lap 10. Then we saw that of Victor Del Porto brake checking Alexander Van de Sande looked like on the entry of turn 1, almost completely destroying the 97's front bumper, but still was able to stay out there racing. And now, currently, Adriano Pinaro is going to be a driver that calls it a night. We are left with a total of 7 drivers on the lead lap. And with that, Alexander Van de Sande did come into pit road 5 laps ago, so we technically have 8 drivers still racing for a chance to win. But a factor we haven't really touched on a lot here tonight, and really hasn't been a factor at all, lap traffic. And really, currently, there is no gap to really worry about as we bring up the track map. Yes, the closest battle on track is for the lead, but it's not a very, it's less than a second. See the 1 and where the 1 of Henry Bennett lies, and you can see it trickling through that gap between 1 and 2. That's the battle for first and second. The lap traffic about a full half a track away from our leader, so I'm not expecting it to be a factor unless we stay green for quite a long time as drivers continue to race on. Big thanks to that of David Huckleberry for being our producer for tonight's race, and all the amazing graphics for us to be showing in cameras as well. We're going to go quiet, go racing on board with that of Eric Triano. See what the 14's point of view is. He's trying to run down that of Henry Bennett. We'll go quiet for a few laps. We'll be back in just a few. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the finale for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series for the 2021B season. It's the Maconi Setup Shop 500, and pit stops are underway. We're past halfway for these drivers. And see Eric Traiano going to be coming into pit road and out just as fast as he came in. Drivers all getting through their pit cycle, and we're now waiting to see when our front four will be coming into pit road. We're expecting them at any moment, and yellow waves once again, and it's going to be Traiano who's going to bring out this yellow, I believe. Oh my goodness, once again, exited pit road. It's so slick, bringing out another yellow here tonight. Giant surprise. And then we're going to actually let this replay continue out because Alec Balvance coming out of pit road, he brought out our last green flag run incident and almost collision between the 5 and the 14 as both of them trying to merge back onto the racing surface. But for the 5, he crossed the white line, and I believe that is going to be an unsafe pit exit for the 5, so that's going to be a penalty for himself. But another quick yellow for us here tonight. Hopefully, luckily no one hit the wall, so we're not going to be losing any drivers. But again, in the middle of green flag pit stops, another going to be seeing another yellow being thrown. Now into pit row is going to be Henry Bennett, Crick Forsyth, James Kennedy, as well as Hosack and Victor Del Porto, all going to be getting service for themselves. And this is going to be leaving Alexander Van de Sant and a couple of other drivers left with doing a wave around again. And we're right back to where we were at on that last restart. 50 laps ago on lap 90 was when we had that last go around, and now it's we've gotten to the point where we now know the stint. The drivers can go about 50. We can go 47 to about 52 is the window for a lot of these drivers coming to pit road. And just got word from race control, EOL, to the 14 of Eric Traiano, who's going to be the driver giving the EOL penalty. Again, if you're the driver that brings out the yellow, you're going to be given a penalty, and for the 14, he'll be going to the end of the line on this restart. And what a season it's been. We've seen multiple drivers throughout the year. Driver that's got the most wins so far this season is Alexander Van de Sant with 4. Second most with just 2 wins is Henry Bennett. We saw Adriano Pinaro's been able to get a win. Brandon Trejo's gotten a win for himself, and also R.C. Enerson got a win. Those are the 5 drivers that have won so far this season. And you look at the tracks where they've won at, as we're still under pacing. Henry Bennett coming off of his championship that he got last season with 2 fabulous wins, winning the first of our Triple Crown races. The 500-mile, 200-lap race at Pocono was when Henry Bennett started off the season, had pole position in a win. Then he won again at that of Barber Motorsports Park, full course there, got the pole, and then won. Then we saw Alexander Van de Sant go on a tear for that of week 3 and 4, where we saw that of New Hampshire as well as Nashville. Short track races is where we saw Alexander Van de Sant get those wins. And then we saw Adriano Pinaro get his 1 win at Laguna Seca. Then the Indy 500, another crown jewel event, where that of Brandon Trejo got his victory. And I think that's the only time we've seen Brandon Trejo for most of the season. Then Alexander Van de Sant got back to his winning ways when we got back to short track ovals at that of Milwaukee Mile. Then R.C. Enerson, we saw a couple of weeks back at Belle Isle, getting the win there at the Detroit Grand Prix. And then last week, by 9 thousandths of a second, Alexander Van de Sant over that of Henry Bennett. So we've seen a lot of wins early for Henry Bennett, but it's been Alexander Van de Sant, the more consistent driver throughout the season. And that's why coming into tonight, Alexander Van de Sant had himself the points lead by just 5 points. And also, you look at the 5 races that Alexander Van de Sant has shown up for. He has finished in the top 10 for every race so far. And with the amount of drivers that are still on track, we have ourselves 11 that are on track running, but only 8 on the lead lap, and Alexander Van de Sant running in 6. So this 97 team looking good as Chad Frankifield pulls it into pit road. We are still under yellow currently. Pace car lights are off So we're going to be given the green flag, but the drivers then do a manual pacing lap, then we go green. So don't expect these drivers to be taken off too quick here. As again, 8 drivers on the lead lap, but we are now down to just our final 2 on track, racing for a championship. Henry Bennett in first, Alexander Van Zandt in 6th. Whoever finishes ahead of the other driver most likely is going to become the driver that wins here tonight. Henry Bennett has led a lap, so that bonus point advantage that we saw the 97 have is gone. So now it's just a 5-point gap between the two of Henry Bennett and Alexander Van Zandt for the championship. Green flag's out, but this is allowing the drivers to come to pit road, get service done for those that had to take the wave around. So Van Zandt, others coming into pit road, and whoo, Alexander Van Zandt, you might be wondering what happened there. There was almost contact between the drivers that were coming into pit road, and that is David Carpenter in the 19. He was on the outside. He had a much sooner pit stop. And so when he tried to, the 19 had to come into his box. 97, if you're driving in the pit box, your car becomes invisible. But if he was outside of his box, that could have been collision and a wreck in pit road and could have been having championship implications there, as now everyone's racing up to our leaders because Henry Bennett is green coming out of turn number 4 and on the front stretch. So Alexander Van Zandt with taking the pit stop, he is now 9 seconds back and not to full song, while our leader Henry Bennett, he's already gone. He's got that of Craig Forsyth, James Kennedy, and also Victor Del Porto, all in this lead group, rolling around as we are coming up to almost 100 laps left at this 260 lap race, the finale of the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series for the Maconi Shop 500 is almost coming away, but we're only got about half of the drivers still out there on track on the lead lap. Have to take a quick sip of water. We're back at it. Henry Bennett, Craig Forsyth going to be your front 2. James Kennedy, Chad Frankifield, Victor Del Porto going to be your top 5. A lot of the racing action, drivers on top of one another, so going to be for that 3rd place position. James Kennedy, who was involved in our big one, now being pressured by Chad Frankifield, and there's a big cluster of drivers around Kennedy that we got to be careful of. But this, we were wondering if there was ever going to be a chance of a caution. It's been self-spins that have brought out our last 2 yellows on green flag pit stops. If we're going to be seeing on-track incidents with drivers, it could be here, as Kennedy holds his line and just is going to be letting these drivers, Victor Del Porto to the inside. Del Porto, I noted on it, he was running back in 8th and 9th at the start of this race, but once we get to the later stages, he starts to be making his surge forward as that of Mark Murphy just trying to poke his nose. And oh boy, Kennedy's going to go up into the wall potentially here. Hold strong. But wow, that pressure from Mark Murphy. He continues. The 23 wants to be moving forward, cracks the top 5, and now trying to go for 4th over that of Victor Del Porto. We started the broadcast off saying there were 4 drivers racing for a championship, and now we've got just a few left. Only 2 racing for the championship now. The rest of the drivers on track, it is all about getting the win. And right now, putting on a show, Victor Del Porto, Mark Murphy, and then behind them, you've got that of Kennedy and Balvance, all racing hard to try to make sure they could become the driver that's in the top 5. As you saw there for a second, Victor Del Porto wanted to send it low, but got pinched too much. It just was not able to really full send it into these corners. And you can see, they want to get going. But with the closing rates and also the tightness that comes in the center of the corner, these drivers got to be careful on when they're running on top of one another. Craig Forsyth running in 2nd currently, and he's got being pressured by that Chad Frankifield in the 15. Frankifield currently, that last time by, was one of the drivers that's been one of the fastest. Craig Forsyth as well put down some fast lap times. Henry Bennett doing what Henry Bennett does, consistent in being up front. That is always what the one seems to be doing. And the more laps he leads, the potential of getting the bonus points of leading the most laps. But if the race was to end now, even with the bonus points and where drivers are at, Henry Bennett would become your champion, as the points gap is only 5 points between Henry Bennett and the 97 of Alexander Van de Sant, the only championship drivers that are still on track racing here. And it still is based off of points. It's not going to be like all the other championship races we're going to be seeing starting on Sunday, where it's all about finishing ahead of your competitors. Here tonight, it is based off of points. So that means Henry Bennett has to finish in front of that of Alexander Van de Sant. Van de Sant, if he can somehow, push back Henry Bennett to that of, fourth or worse, Alexander Van de Sant could finish right behind the one machine and still win the championship, as those positions are only a 4-point difference. And then 11th on back would be a 2-point difference. But with there only being 8 drivers left on the lead lap, it's all about just stay consistent, run your own race. But on that last restart, got to remember, Alexander Van de Sant came into pit road on the same, just 3 laps later than Henry Bennett as their fuel strategy run. And right now, the 97 currently 9.5 seconds back from our leader. It's about a quarter of this track that we have the 97 being back was not with the full field when they went with the restart. So these drivers that are up front, they're just hoping this race stays green. As you take a look here at the track map, you can see the one of Henry Bennett coming on the front stretch across the line. The 97 though, just coming out of turn number 4. That's where the gap is between our championship runners. And you see the driver that's lit up with the green outline, that's Chad Frankifield, the driver that we're watching currently, as he's trying to make the pass for second over Craig Forsyth. Look at Chad Frankifield, came in tonight 6th in points with the 8 races that he came in with, had 1 pole this season, 4 top 5s, and 6 top 10s for Chad Frankifield, the driver that we've seen be very strong in the Cup Series. And these IndyCar Series, it's usually when we go to the 1.5-mile ovals where Chad Frankifield is at his strongest and really shows a chance of getting wins. Going to these shorter tracks, it's more so of consistency for the 15. Craig Forsyth, I've seen Forsyth in other leagues where he's been very strong at. 33 in these Indy cars, it seems to be his comfortable place to be running. And as we continue to watch these drivers, lap 162 of 206 to be putting down. We're past the 162 marker. We were past halfway 30 laps ago. We are now less than 100 laps left in our championship race. It's the 2021B finale at the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It's the Maconi Setup Shop 500. I'm going to rest my voice for a little bit as we hop on board with Chad Frankifield, getting on board of what it's like watching these drivers right on top of one another. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the finale for the 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series, the Maconi Setup Shop 500 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Big thanks to all of the amazing sponsors that help this racing action, and also for us at the Elite Racing Network, C2 Freights and Services, as well as those at Maconi Setup Shop for sponsoring the race, Blue Egg Marketing, that of Response Energy, and many others that have helped throughout the year, like that of Bird Racing. We've also had that of we've seen Richmar Florist. That went blank for a quick second there. I was like, I know it's a florist in a flower place. And also to everyone else that has helped make the Elite Racing League, as well as the Elite Racing Network, possible for all of you viewing here. We're 173 laps into the race, and Craig Forsyth has found a new gear and has been starting to catch up to Henry Bennett, but it could be a ploy from Henry Bennett to try to lessen up on his speed to save fuel. Been looking and trying to do the math when we went quiet there and riding on board with Frankifield and Victor Del Porto there. Drivers are potentially in a spot where they could be, if they're able to save enough, if they can make it to lap 2, I believe it is 205, lap 205, if they can get to that marker, I believe these drivers can make it to the end. But if you cannot make it to lap 205 to 210, drivers are most likely going to have to come into pit road and do a two-stop strategy. So these drivers, we talked about it. It's once you get later on, you start doing the math, you start hoping that you're put in the time and the calculations. You had maybe someone in your ear trying to do the math for you. When do you come into pit road? That is going to be the key, and from here on out, it is all based off of fuel strategy. These drivers pretty spread out from one another. It's really the battle for our front three positions that's the closest. Mark Murphy, about a second back from that of Chad Frankifield. Victor Del Porto also going to be back in 5th. And also, as we're starting to see our front runners slow down on their pace, willing to try to save fuel, I think recognizing where they're at. The difference is between, for the championship, it's Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sant. Both drivers coming in tonight, 5-point difference, and it was Alexander Van de Sant with that 5-point advantage. Into pit road, though, is going to be Chad Frankifield. He could not make it to the window, so he's going to have to turn this race, this pit stop, and another one to make it to the end. I like this call from Frankifield. Just come in now and get service done. But with the drivers that have pitted early, they have been trapped into a caution that usually comes out from someone making a mistake getting out of pit road. So Frankifield, in a very tricky situation, was coming into pit road. Also, for the drivers that are going to be out front, Alexander Van de Sant, when we went green on this last restart, he was 9 seconds back from our leader. He has closed that down by 3 seconds since we've been green for these past 30 laps. So the drivers that are up front, you can tell they're starting to back off on their speed, trying to save fuel for themselves, and also just trying to figure out what fuel strategy is the right one. Do you go out there and try to save fuel, or do you try to just pit now and recognize and take the fact you're going to have to pit twice here at the end of the race? Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sant, they've been about, a 16 to an 18 lap difference in fuel for the primarily of the first half of this race. But on that last restart, Alexander Van de Sant decided to come in just 3 laps later than Henry Bennett. So they're practically on the same sequence. It's all about working together, staying focused, and how well are they going to race here late. As drivers continue to race on, Alexander Van de Sant will be making a pass here on James Kennedy, who's just going to gift that position. So Alexander Van de Sant has now cracked into the top 5. Very easy pass that was placed there. Kennedy just gifting that 5th place position, and recognizing, I think, for a lot of these drivers, it is a duel between Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sant. If another caution comes out, it's going to be putting these drivers even in a better spot to race out for a championship. 5 points is the difference, and the laps continue to tick away. It's lap 182 of 260. Crazy to think that we are on race number 10 of the season, the finale of the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. and it was a difference of 5 points coming into the night. It could be just one position that could be gifting a championship to either the two-time champ trying to go for his third championship in the IndyCar Series, Henry Bennett, or Alexander Van Sant going for his first. Cannot wait for it. More racing action here in a few. We're going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, we take it to the end here at that of Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Maconi Setup Shop 500. We go trackside, right on board with that. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the finale, and we are now 70 laps away from crowning a champion. It's currently Henry Bennett leading the way, and all he has to do is make sure he is up front and leading in front of Alexander Van Sant, who is on the move. He was 9 seconds back from our leaders when we went on a restart 47 laps ago. And now Alexander Van Sant is just about a little bit under 5 seconds back from our leader. So the pressure starting to mount up, but the question is there enough time, and will we see another yellow? We've already seen Chad Frankifield come to pit road. Mark Murphy has just come in, but we are now expecting green flag pit stops for a lot of our front runners starting anywhere from now to the next 8 laps. Everyone's going to be starting to trickle in, and I noted on it, a lot of these drivers, they're hoping to get to lap 205 if possible, but that was asking for a lot for a lot of these drivers. For Alexander Van Sant, though, he might be one of the drivers that can stretch it that far on fuel. But for Henry Bennett and others, they might have to make another stop after this and do a little bit of a top-off. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here for the Elite Racing Network for that of the Maconi Setup Shop 500, the finale race of the 2021 Mega Driver IndyCar Series. My name is Sam Dyer, been giving you the call throughout the night. Big thanks to that of David Huckleberry, who's been running productions throughout the night. 194 laps. Now going to be in the book of 260. And now another driver is going to be trickling in. Alec Balvance coming into pit road. We started out with 19 drivers on track. Ethan Reasoner ran about 2 laps, then just moved on to race control for the rest of the evening. Chris Wilhite only lasted about 2 laps, then he had come into pit road with issues, and now we see more drivers coming in for official pit stops, I believe. Alec Balvance gets in, gets out, and this could be looking like his pit stop, but he might have to come in another go around. Here comes Dave Carpenter. Carpenter's been having issues with locking up on pit entry. You see Craig Forsyth now into pit road. For all these drivers that are coming in now, is here comes Alec Balvin. I mean, that of Alexander Van Sant that comes in. This is unexpected to see the 97 coming in this early. He came in later and now pits sooner. This is a gutsy call from the 97, going with the undercut pit stop here, hoping to gain time on that of Henry Bennett any way possible. Now Henry Bennett's going to be hitting pit road as that of Alexander Van Sant takes off from his pit box. We move back to the one, see if he has any mistakes. You cannot make mistakes here late. We've seen the last 2 green flag pit stops have brought out yellows. We still got 2 more drivers that have to come in. We got that of Michael Hosack as well as Eric Trejo. And Trejo was the driver that brought out the last incident in the 14. As the one comes in, comes to his box, holds for that of 9 seconds, blinks for a quick moment, and back out on track. A scary moment for a quick moment. Usually when you see a driver come into pit road and disappear, that usually is a sign they're calling it a night. I'm very scared for that of Henry Bennett, who is back out on track. We look and see Alexander Van Sant back out, moving the undercut. Works out great for himself. At one moment was 9.5 seconds back. Now Alexander Van Sant has Victor Del Porto in his sights, and then in front of that is 2.5 seconds is where Henry Bennett, the championship run, coming to the end here. It was a 5-point difference between that of the 97 and the 1, and now it is just one position currently, but Victor Del Porto not wanting to give up. He's going to be doing a crossover move, aggressive in the entry. Usually you see here late, you give the championship driver position, you give them the space, but Victor Del Porto saying, you know what? I still want to race for pride. I want to race for myself. And now diving it low is the 27 on the 97. Coming out turn number 2. Woo! Almost in the outside wall was Alexander Van Sant, just on the edge of, in the brink of seeing these cars go around, and they continue to pressure on. That's what the Elite Racing League gives you. Some of the best racing on iRacing. Lap 200, coming up to just 60 laps left in tonight's race. Chad Frankifield leading the way. He'll have to come into pit road here in the next 20 to 30 laps to make his final pit stop. For the rest of the field, they're expecting to go at least one more pit stop before this race is over. You got one more money stop, and if you make any mistake there, your race could be over. 9 drivers on the lead lap currently, as we have that of Alec Balvance and Dave Carpenter, the only drivers that are still out on track. 2 laps down is Balvance, 3 laps down is Carpenter, with Chad Frankifield leading the way. As believe, looking at drivers that still need to come in pit road, Eric Trejo somehow still out on track for the 14. He's been out on track for 55 laps on this stint, and finally coming into pit road, finishing off this pit cycle that we're on. The 14 hopes to have a much better exit out of pit road. That's where we had our last incident. As we take a look here at the pit stop stints and strategies, a lot of these drivers have already made 5 pit stops. That seems to be the average for most. Chad Frankifield expected to come in. Chad Frankifield's been one of the drivers, though, that has really been on the shorter end of coming into pit road. And yellow waves here late. And it's going to be Mark Murphy destroying the 23s. We'll take a look here. Another self-spin, ending a driver's night on the exit of turn number 2. See the 23 running low, feeling comfortable and confident, and the rear end just snaps on him on the exit of the corner. Yellow waves here late, but luckily all of our championship contenders were on the lead lap, but this stacks them all back up, and this changes the whole entire factor of this race, because Now everyone is going to be right on the edge of making it on fuel if they come in this go around. And Mark Murphy officially calling it a night. So that's going to be leaving us with 10 drivers on track moving forward as everyone's going to be coming into the pit road, topping off. And this pit stop going to be so important. Who's going to be coming in late to just make sure they're good on fuel? Chad Frankifield, Craig Forsyth, Henry Bennett, Alexander Van de Sant, Hosak, others. Hosak's going to be staying out is the 09, which he came in 5 laps ago feeling like, you know what, might be good to me making it to the end. Wait for the 15 to come into his pit box. 10 drivers now left on track. As officially Mark Murphy has parked it. And Victor Del Porto, very quick, just fuel only stop for himself. Chad Frankenfield and that of Forsyth right on top of one another. And I believe Frankfield's going to get that one. And it's going to be Chad Frankifield, Forsyth. Victor Del Porto is going to be moving back up front as he was one of the first drivers, and he'll be second in line as Hosak did stay out. We'll see if he decides to come into pit road. Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett, they're going to be riding 5th and 6th with the last runner on the lead lap, James Kennedy, going to be in 7th position. Well, thought we were going to be staying green to the end with this yellow. We're going to be staying quiet for another few moments. When we come back, we get back to green flag racing for the Maconi Setup Shop 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. What a place to be. Drama-filled night. And there is no other way we would have wanted it. It is the 2021B finale for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. We'll be back in just a few moments. Well, let's see if we can get your mic rolling then. That's fine. I've done where we've done testing before, like live. We're good. We're just trying to get. Oh, I am so close to it though. That is exactly where we're at. Yeah, we're gonna be having Dave Huckleberry getting his debut up in here. I needed some assistance. We were trying to see if we can get anyone else up in the booth, but we're now in our final less than 60, coming up to 50 laps to go in this race. And Dave, drivers are gonna be getting a pace lap here as the pace car pulls off. But you've been watching. I've been watching throughout the night. It's been a chaotic night of who knows what's gonna happen. But man, how have you been feeling? Been watching these IndyCar drivers here tonight? Yeah. Well, right now, top five still isn't fully secured. You still got 7 drivers on the lead lap, technically 9. I mean 8 now. And as we're getting ready to go green, it's going to be Victor Del Porto, Chad Frankifield, Alexander Van Sant, Henry Bennett, and that of Michael Hosak going to be your top 5 as we roar down the front stretch. See the yellow 19. Carpenter's not going to be ducking out of the way, but Victor Del Porto, who's been Mr. Aggressive, when he sees someone pass him, he tries to do a crossover move practically every single time. Going to be the driver up front. Chad Frankifield's going to be in second as we go back and watch the battling for third. This is what it all comes down to here tonight. It's that of Alexander Van Sant and also Henry Bennett. Dave, we've been watching these drivers all night long, but it is now down to just these two, Alexander Van Sant, Henry Bennett, on who can finish ahead of the other. Nine races counting tonight. It becomes 10. Have now come down to the final 50 laps of tonight's race. Victor Del Porto trying to get a win for himself, will be his first of the season. Chad Frankifield as well looking for his first win. Or will it be the man who's been winning all season long, that of Alexander Van Sant in the 97, the one of Henry Bennett in fourth? Where the drivers are right now and the amount of drivers that are on track, each position now worth 4 points. And the gap coming into this section of the race, it is still a 5-point difference between Alexander Van Sant and Henry Bennett. So for Henry Bennett, he needs to make sure that he is at least 2 positions ahead of Alexander Van Sant if they are racing for 4th back to 10th. But it's once we see Alexander Van Sant, because he's in 3rd currently, it is a 6-point advantage. So if Henry Bennett makes the pass for 3rd and Alexander Van Sant's in 4th, that's when the one would be having an advantage by just being at 1 position ahead. I really don't think so. Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Who's going to be in extreme save mode to make sure that they can make it? Right now, Henry Bennett is, compared to our leader of Victor Del Porto and Chad Frankifield, running about 2/10 off. Alexander Van Sant running about a half a tenth slower than actually faster than Henry Bennett. So right now we're starting to see the drivers that are further back. Yes, naturally they're running slower because some of these drivers just aren't running as fast. As we take a deeper look at Van Sant and Henry Bennett on the pacing that they're putting down. And right now, I mean, Van Sant, he's trying to still stay ahead, but Henry Bennett just being a little bit slower, which at the end of the day could be costly for the one. You're trying to save to make sure you can make it to the end, but also you got to make sure you're at least close enough to make a pass if needed. Yeah, and those splash and goes for anyone that might be in that realm. I think for our top 4, they're going to be in a very precarious spot because everyone else topped off in the last lap when they had a chance to come to pit road, came in, topped off with fuel, and then took off and still are in save mode. Our front 4, though, they came in when pit road was open and then decided to attack, and they've been very aggressive for Victor Del Porto and Chad Frankifield, which I think both of them, you kind of noted on it to me, David, before we went live. I mean, we've got 19 drivers, 15 of them are just racing for a win, and then we had 4 drivers that were racing for a championship. We're now down to our final 2 of that of Alexander Van Sant and Henry Bennett after the misfortunes for Adriano Pinero as well as Nick DeGroot. So it's now just a duel between these 2 drivers. And now the gap continues to grow between 3rd and 4th. Alexander Van Sant, could he be running too fast? That's going to be the question here as we're coming closer and closer to 40 laps to go. Well, we've seen in chat, that of Musselman after his incident came into chat was chiming in, taking a look at what's going on. We've seen a couple of other drivers chiming in and seeing how things are going on for the race from the broadcast side. Well, for the drivers that were in the race, watching it in the session after they've been out, all of them have left. A lot of drivers disappointed with the way that their season has come to a close for this 2021B season. And it's crazy to think, end of the year, as it's 40 laps to go, 2022 right around the corner. New things are right around the corner. F1 going to be in the mix. And David, you're going to be producing the F1 in the truck Sunday nights here for the Elite Racing Network. Are you excited for the new upcoming events that are coming up for the 2022 season? Yeah, well, 2022 A season F1, the new F1 Mercedes that just hit iRacing here just about a week or so ago, now is probably one of the most popular cars currently drivers are testing with, and the Elite Racing League, one of the biggest leagues out there on iRacing, and one of the first leagues that is, I heard a lot of rumblings from drivers being like, I want to start an F1 league. But I think Elite was one of the first ones that really were like, we have an F1 series that we are going to have. Signups are open, and I'm pretty sure most of the field is filled up. It's filled up so much that they're going to be having to have two groups of drivers racing out there. So a lot of excitement is in the air for the new season that's around the corner, new sponsors, and for us at the Elite Racing Network, we're excited. We're going to be working over the off season to just make the network better in each way possible, with the production side, commentating side, all excited to be making growth as the laps continue to tick away. It's going to be that of 35 laps to go for Victor Del Porto that's trying to go for a win. But is he going too fast? That's going to be the question. And for Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett, that gap continues to grow. Over 2 seconds now is the difference between the 97 and the 1. Yeah, these Indy cars, you're able to change so much. You can change the weight jacker, you can change the toe. Also, you can pick and choose which level you want to be in. There's multiple levels of fuel saving or being aggressive and attacking this course. So drivers, most likely in fuel saving, as well as some feel comfortable that they can actually make adjustments live on the track, and some mess with their weight jacker so they can attack. With corners 1 and 2 being so narrow compared to corners 3 and 4, a lot of these self spins that we've been seeing throughout the night, gotta say, David, I think that might be one of the reasons why we've seen so many self spins. It's drivers. One, it's right when we change from older tires to newer tires, so the coldness is a factor on slipping and sliding, and also could be the fact that drivers might be making too big of changes throughout these corners that ruin their nights. That they do. I just got a message in the chat wondering what is the points difference looking like. Well, tonight we started out with 4 drivers that had an opportunity to possibly win a championship, and this was what the points looked like coming into the night. You had that of Nick DeGroot, longest shot with over 90 points. His race got ended on lap 10. He self-spun, dumped his car, and his night was done. Adriano Pinheiro around lap 130 was up front leading the race, but technical issues hindered the 12, and he had to park it for the night. And we are now left with our top 2, 5-point difference. Both have led laps. Neither of them have led the most laps, so it is still 5 points is the difference. Right now, currently, Alexander Van de Sant's running in third, Henry Bennett in fourth. So where they lie currently, Alexander Van de Sant would get the championship, but the factor is, caution came out under the last time of having green flag pit stops, and it happened right at the window of when the drivers were going to be right at the cusp. You had to save a lot of fuel if you wanted to make it, and that's what we're seeing right now. Top two, Victor Del Porto, Chad Frankifield, they're running these cars as hard as they can go until they run dry. That of Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett, they've been on fuel saving, hoping that they could save just enough. It's been Henry Bennett that's been on the more aggressive side of saving fuel, while that of Alexander Van de Sant's been more on the trickle of saving on his side. So that's where we're at right now for our top four. James Kennedy, Greg Forsyth, as well as Hosak, and that of Eric Trail going to be the drivers that are still out on track on the lead lap. Alec Balvance and David Carpenter going to be the drivers that are a lap down, but still running of the top 10. Crazy to think where we're at, David, but the laps continue to tick away, coming up to 25 laps to go for these drivers, and the championship's on the field. Yeah, he has been very aggressive. He's just been trying to put down as much as he can. And coming in right now with 25 laps to go, he still is going to be able to come in, fill up his tank. It's going to be a shorter stop because he came in early, and then just be full song while everyone else is still saving fuel. So Chad Frankifield banking on everyone else having to still come into pit road with this undercut. He was with the speed that we were seeing from that of the 15. He was not going to be able to make it because he was not saving fuel. Our leader, Victor Del Porto, was doing a very similar thing to Chad Frankifield. He's been on full song, not saving fuel at all, but we're going to drop back for the battle for third. Henry Bennett currently has a possible chance of being challenged right now. James Kennedy starting to get a little bit faster, while Henry Bennett is starting to slow down more and more and is in complete save mode is the one. Yeah, and with the gap that continues to grow, Henry Bennett, he's just starting to move higher and higher up. He cannot really have that of Kennedy get between the ones, so he's going to be pressured to run a little bit faster. But I think Kennedy might be recognizing the same scenario of, we might have to save this much, because Henry Bennett has been notoriously known throughout this season as the driver that has figured out the fuel system so well with these Indy cars. And I got to say, it's one of the crazier things out here for these drivers on how well they're going to be racing. But Victor Del Porto leading the way. Alexander Van de Sant going to be in second. Henry Bennett in third. With 22 laps to go. David, thanks for joining us up in the booth. I think right now we're struggling to hear you, but it's okay. 20 laps to go. I'll take us to the end. Victor Del Porto, Alexander Van de Sant going to be your front two, but it's all about the championship. Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett, second and third place currently. 5 points is the difference, and that is just one position on track. That is all that you need if you want to win the championship here tonight, is make sure you're ahead of the other driver. And it could come down to fuel strategy. This was one of the things that was noted on. We talked to our top two drivers coming into this week. They were the favorites to come and win the championship. The two-time IndyCar champion Henry Bennett even noted on it he needed cautions to give him a fuel strategy or just a strategy chance at all to win this championship. And for that of Alexander Van de Sant in the 97, he felt like he just needed to keep his nose clean, be up front, and he felt like he was going to be one of the favorites to win here tonight. 19 laps to go, and it is all that of Alexander Van de Sant for the championship run in second. But did he run this fuel too hard, and was he too aggressive? Has he saved enough is going to be the question. Victor Del Porto, we're kind of assuming he's not going to have enough fuel to make it to the end. But that is a big assumption given to the 27, so it could be all based off of who can win this race here tonight. Started with 19 drivers, we're now down to just 10 on track running. Our last three cautions have been drivers coming into pit road under green flag pit stops and bringing out a yellow. We're not expecting too many drivers coming to pit road to make services done, but still the lingering of a potential yellow is always going to be there. The difference between our championship runners is 3.2 seconds between that of Alexander Van de Sant in second, and in third place, Henry Bennett, as we see that of the 27, Victor Del Porto, leading the way, coming up to that of Eric Triano, who Triano is in extreme save mode as well, hoping to make it to the end here on fuel. Lap cars not expected to be a factor here, but a car wrecks. It's going to be the 09 of that of Michael Hosak, who's going to be the driver, wrecking and has heavy damage. Self-spin out of turn number 2, almost bringing out a yellow here. Off-track incident. And now Hosak limping the 09 to pit road. We stay green as the laps trickle away. 15 laps to go. Michael Hosak's race is ruined. And we are down to now just 9 cars on track. Championship still on the line. Alexander Van de Sant, Henry Bennett. Those are the 2 drivers for the championship that we're keeping our eyes on. Victor Del Porto still going for his first win of the season. Could it happen here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Maconi Setup Shop 500? Who knows what's going to happen here? It has been all dramatic throughout the night. It has been a wild night, and what a start to championship week here for the 2021B season. And you see it here, Chad Frankifield pressuring that of the 97 of Alexander Van de Sant. Van de Sant might have to come into pit road if he's been too aggressive, but we're starting to see drivers really back off their pace from second on back. That of Victor Del Porto has been on the aggressive. Del Porto is going to be forced to come into pit road here in just the next 7 to 8 laps with how hard he's been pushing everyone else, hoping they could stretch the fuel out a little bit further from where they were at the start of this race. It's been crazy. It's been a good one, but who's going to get it done? Fuel strategy run at the end. Hosak almost bringing out a late yellow that could have thrown out fuel strategy and would have made it just all about racing. 12 laps to go, and coming to just 11 laps to go, coming across the line. Victor Del Porto, again, looking for his first win of the season. Alexander Van de Sant looking for his first championship in the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. That of Henry Bennett, trying to go back-to-back if possible. But who knows if it's going to happen for the one. He has been extremely saving the gap now between our championship drivers. 4 seconds. Henry Bennett has just been saving from the start, and he might, because of how aggressive he's been, this puts a little bit of pressure on Alexander Van de Sant. Will he be saving enough here? Victor Del Porto not in fuel saving at all this stint. He is not going to make it for the 27. We're expecting him to come into pit road here. About 5 laps to go is when the 27 we're expecting him to come in. Get a quick swig of water. Get yourself ready. It is going to be a dramatic one. 9 laps to go. Championship on the line. More championship racing going to be happening throughout this whole entire week. Sunday, it's going to be seeing drivers coming in. Speaking of coming in, though, we got to change the topic. Victor Del Porto coming into pit road. He is not going to make it. Now, it's all going to be on that of Alexander Van de Sant. Henry Bennett, 1-2, the championship on the line. Who saved enough fuel? As Victor Del Porto, we knew he wasn't going to be able to make it on fuel because of how hard he was pushing. But the drivers that have been on complete save mode, they had to save to make it. And here we go. Who saved enough? Alexander Van de Sant or Henry Bennett? The difference over 5 seconds between the 97 and that of the 1. And Alexander Van de Sant just put down a burner lap for himself. So he just put down his fastest lap of the day. Alexander Van de Sant, he gets the lead, and he is on full song while Henry Bennett is still saving. Oh my goodness, I think Alexander Van de Sant's just recognized he is not going to make it on fuel. He needs to get going, build the lead up as much as possible, and hope that maybe when he comes into pit road, it won't be too bad. Oh, this is just dramatic. 6 laps to go. And it's our front 2 battling for the championship. It's all about who finishes in front of the other driver at this point. Because of the amount of positions there are, whatever position you're in, In the top three, excuse me, from first, it's 100 points that can be gained. In second, it's 80 points. Third, 70. Fourth is 64 points. And then from fourth back to sixth currently, that is a difference of 4 points. So if we see that of if we see that of Henry Bennett finishing in fourth, and that of Alexander Van de Sant finishing in fifth, Van de Sant would get the win by 1 position. As you see drivers parked in pit road, backwards is that of Hosack, and now into pit road is going to be other drivers getting service done of that of Alec Balavan. It's 4 laps to go, and it's down to the wire. The gap now has grown up to 6.3 seconds. Henry Bennett still saving fuel as Alexander Van de Sant is going full song at the end. And now we're going to be getting word drivers even back for third. James Kennedy, who's been on save mode, saying he's pitting in. 3 laps to go. It's all on the line. It's your 2021B finale for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It's your Maconi Setup Shop 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 3 laps to go, and it's either going to be Alexander Van de Sant hoisting the trophy of the championship, or will it be Henry Bennett in the 1 coming across the line? It is 2 laps to go for a championship. It's either the driver that has been in complete save mode of Henry Bennett or full song Alexander Van de Sant. 2 laps to go, a lap and a half left for the championship. Alexander Van de Sant, has he saved enough? He is not saving anymore. Did he just get enough? And did Henry Bennett waste it all? Out of turn number 4, the white flag in the air, a championship on the line. Alexander Van de Sant just needs to limp away, but did he save enough? Coming through turn number 2, we wait to see all of the telemetry. Does he limp at all? He's in 5th gear, trying to save. Coming through turns 3 and 4, he's got over a 7-second gap lead. Then Alexander Van de Sant can limp it from here. Your Mega Driver 86 champion, Alexander Van de Sant, wins at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Maconi Setup Shop 500. Holy cow, he saved enough. Congratulations, win number 5 of the season and a championship crown for Alexander Van de Sant. Holy moly, 260 laps. Alexander Van de Sant absolutely got brake checked by Victor Del Porto on lap 90 and almost lost his front wing. Luckily, he did not get enough damage. His car stayed together. And at the very end, the fuel, the strategy, it all came together. The 97, burn it down, Alexander, because you are a champion in the Elite Racing League. Championship week, you better be prepared. We got Trucks Xfinity Cup throughout the week, and it's going to be a good one. And it is all Alexander Van de Sant here tonight. The win here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and the championship. Holy smokes, what a finish. And we will be back in just a few moments. We got our top 3. We got Craig Forsyth. We'll get Henry Bennett's point of view, and our champion, Alexander Van de Sant. We'll be back in just a few moments as we look here at the end results. 19 drivers took the green, and only, I believe, we had about 8 that were able to cross the line still running. So it fell off very quickly there. But we will be back. We'll get those drivers up in the booth. Wow, what a night. What a night. Championship week starts off with the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series for the Maconi Setup Shop 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 4 drivers mathematically could win the championship, but it came down to the 2 that just had a 5-point gap coming into the night. Points were doubled. It was Alexander Van Sant by 5 points over Henry Bennett, and after tonight, it's going to be a 25-point lead for that of Alexander Van Sant. What a night it was for that driver. We'll talk to Van Sant in just a few. We're going to start things off with third place runner, that of Craig Forsyth, to get his point of view of the championship night. Starting things off with Craig. Craig, what a night for yourself. Third place finish right behind the championship, too. What a night it was for yourself. Craig, give us your point of view of how this night was.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to be in the championship, having a view of them battling it out right to the very end is the right place to be. Those two are, Henry and Alex are ridiculously good at this, and they're both such good fuel savers. I had to dive in to top up because I knew I'm not a good fuel saver. I'm a lead foot, so and I still even being 3 laps to the good on them, I still barely made it across the line, and I had to follow behind one of the guys there for a while just to save some extra fuel.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, we saw that. We knew it was going to be very close on fuel. What was going through your mind though on that restart? Was it immediately save fuel the best that you could, or was there a moment where you're like, well, I've got that limit, I can push here early on?
No, I knew it was going to be super, super, super tight, and so my priority was to get caught back up to the pack after splashing up because a couple of the guys earlier in the race when they'd gone in for the splashes hadn't been able to catch up to the pack, and if you don't do that, well, you're not going to save any fuel. So no, I had to get up to them, and then I immediately went into fuel saving. And once I got into clean air, I started to see my numbers were going bad, so I had to. I'm not as good as those two at fuel saving. They're on another level, that's for sure.
Well, Craig, it was all about those championship drivers, but for being the highest of those that weren't racing for a championship here tonight, congratulations for a third place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I got to thank the LMC Gear guys. Good to see Alex win the championship, and good for the team. And it's been a good season. Look forward to coming back next year and doing a full season.
That's going to be Craig Forsyth in the 33, third place here tonight for Worldwide Technologies Raceway for the Maconi Setup Shop 500. Congratulations and good luck next season.
You betcha. Stay safe.
And then before we get to the highs, we first got to go through the lows. Henry Bennett, one position shy of making it for a championship win. Henry Bennett up in the booth. It's Sam. Henry, give us your point of view there late. We knew it was going to be all about fuel saving, but what was going through your mind there in those last couple of laps?
Oh, well, I'd been fuel saving all race, so I thought I'd be able to do it better than anyone. But Alex obviously had something else. Because the pace he was going at the end, I didn't think he was saving. So, yeah, he certainly found something that I didn't have with the saving. Um, but yeah, did all I could. I mean, I wasn't comfortable with the car at all. I mean, I didn't do enough practice. I needed half an hour practice just before the race, and that obviously isn't enough when you're trying to fight someone like Alex on the short tracks where he excels. But yeah, things were looking good at certain points in the race with the strategy of going long all the time, but cautions packed it all back up again and brought people back into contention. But yeah, I knew how to beat Alex, and yeah, just one position short. So yeah, happy with the season.
I mean, Henry, it was an incredible season. It seemed like you and Alex were always on top of one another throughout the year. You always seem to, though, whenever I watch you racing, you're always up front, but kind of always seem to be under the radar with trying to stay, not in danger. How was it tonight? It seemed like you didn't find any points of the race where you put yourself in danger, but that we might have missed one of those spots. Was there any spot where you thought maybe your race was going to be done?
No, not at all. I mean, I think I pit one caution and no one else did, and that sent me back to about 10th, 11th in the pack, and that was probably the most dangerous point for me in the race. Actually, the scariest part was the only green flag stop I had to do because because had never done any because the cautions just came falling for me. I was a bit nervous doing that and lost a bit of time. So yeah, that might have been the scariest point.
Well, Henry, great season for yourself. I know you wanted to get the championship, one position shy, but before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to Chad and Ethan. Really enjoyed my time in this league. The past 2.5 years, I think it's 2019. I started in this league and yeah, really enjoyed it. Really happy with the 2 titles I got, loads of wins. yeah, they just put together a great league, and yeah, it's probably going to be my last race, regular race in this league. I might come back to do the Indy 500s and things because it's so late at night, I'm going to have to go back to normal European hours next year. I'm just getting a bit too old to do these late night races. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to everyone in the race. Alex, Victor, Adriano, Chad, just brilliant drivers. Love racing them. Shout out to my team, Powerslide Motorsports, and Alex has actually just joined Powerslide Motorsports, so look forward to seeing what he can do with us. And yeah, shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Look forward to listening to it tomorrow.
Well, Henry, if this is the last time that we get to cover you in a regular season race and race for a championship, it has been an honor, and you have always been a champion out there with your 2 championships. Congratulations on those 2. I know you wanted this, get it a 3rd, but it certainly was a great season. Congratulations on 2nd place, and can't wait to see you back on track.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Henry Bennett in the 1, going to finish 2nd place on track, 2nd in points, and the man who's going to be coming in with a championship here tonight, your 2021B finale champion here for the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. It is Alexander Van de Sande getting the championship done. Alex, what a race you had. You had to be special tonight. You had the fuel-saving run there late, and the championship is yours. Congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
I don't even know what to say, man. I thought the race was over for me at one point at that one restart where like I just got stuck 10 seconds back, and I mean, even if it had stayed green, though, I had the pace to catch and pass Henry, and there was still a fuel save aspect there that I was going to be screwed on, but man, I just had it figured out, and especially with the fuel save at the end, and it just worked. I don't even know.
Yeah, there were a lot of very sketchy moments that hit you, Alex, throughout the night. I think the one that I kept on harping on was you and Victor Del Porto having your scuffle and looked like almost contact. Thought you were going to lose your front nose, and your wing stayed put, still very strong. But give us that point of view during the race where you thought your night could have ended very quickly.
Yeah, I should probably apologize to Victor for that. I still need to see the replay, but I think a lot of people were like braking to slow down the car into the corner, but I wasn't. I was braking like later in the corner to rotate it, so I would carry a lot more speed. I nearly killed Chad 2 or 3 times doing the same thing as well. So I think it's just different driving styles kind of came together there. So I'm the car behind. It's on me to not run over Victor and to make a safe pass. So apologies to him, but yeah, that was a scary moment. I thought either my wing was dead or I think I'm pretty sure I tapped the right rear on the wall as well. But so got away. I think we both got away with it, and yeah, just gathered it up and kept going.
Alex, we look at your stats. They are incredible to look at. You finished in the top 10 every single start that you've had. You have won over 50% of the races that you showed up to this season. It has been a stellar season for yourself. Man, just overall season, how are you feeling about that?
I'm just I know I've come so far from the start of this year. It's unbelievable. I like the last 2 elite seasons I've done. I've like maybe had a good like first 2 races and then just fallen off in the middle, and I just haven't, and not in just elite but other leagues too. I've struggled to put together full seasons. 1 or 2 races, I'm great. I'm good at the start or good at the end, but across the whole season, I've just lacked that consistency. And this time, this season, I was just able to put it together and have that strong consistency, especially at the end. Chase down Henry in the middle part and finish it off. And it was again, what wasn't only this. I also won the Velocity Online Racing Series. My second championship in that league actually. So it's just I've come a long way. Very proud of the work that I've put in, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the work is certainly shown, Alex. Congratulations. And tonight, it all goes to the 97. Again, your 2021B finale goes to that of Alexander Van de Sande, your 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series champion. Congratulations. Soak it in, and we'll see you next season, man.
Thank you, guys.
Alexander Van de Sant, your champion. What a night. Drama filled. We saw almost every competitor racing for a championship have an issue. Nick DeGroot got taken out extremely early. Mechanical issues hitting Adriano. And then we saw there late. It was a duel all about fuel saving, and it was Alexander Van de Sant getting it done. What a race for himself in championship week. Starts off with a bang. It was fuel saving, but more racing action throughout the week. Sunday, it's the Old Testament Firearms Truck Series. Then on Monday, it's the SMRI Productions Xfinity Series. And then Wednesday, the Cup Series, the jointaps.com Cup Series. What a week and what a time to be watching on the Elite Racing Network. Subscribe if you want to be in the chat, commenting, reacting to the race. We love seeing all the reactions, and we cannot wait for more racing action to continue. Sunday night, that's your next showing for us up at the booth. My name was Sam Dyer. Running productions was that of David Huckleberry. Thank you for joining us here. Congratulations to Alexander Van de Sant, your 2021B Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series champion. Congratulations, Alex, and everyone else. Hey, you got to try to figure out how to beat this 87 next year.